All right, everyone, good afternoon. Monday, December 12th, 2022. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I am your host, as always, here on Monday afternoons. Adam Martin, joined by my friend and co host here, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, a lot to talk about, man, stemming from UFC 282. We got a lot to talk about with this card. Bellator, obviously, we'll recap that as well. It's a pretty good Bellator card. How's everything with you, man? How was your weekend? I know the Netherlands, they put up a good effort, Marcel. They almost came back and won. Tell me about that, because I know that obviously you're a little sad they lost, but it was a good match, right?
I mean, yeah, it was a good match, man. I thought, honestly, that referee, fucking horrible dude. He completely let that game go out of hand, but not just for. I felt like he was really in favor of the Argentinians, but besides that, we lost and we deserved to lose, so there's no problem in that at all, But I mean, if you give 19 yellow cards in the game, you're an idiot. It's just like it just got out of hand. Even after the game, it got out of hand. Backstage and stuff. So yeah, too bad. I told you before. I thought that we will go out in the quarterfinals against Argentina before the tournament, and it happened because both teams or both countries went first place in their group, and they face each other in the quarterfinals. So yeah, I mean, but it's a fun World Cup, man. Lots of surprises. I mean, France. I expected France to be in the semis. I expected Argentina to be in the semis. Croatia, I had them going out in the quarterfinals, so that's a surprise. And Morocco, I had them going out in the group stage, so that's a big surprise.
Yeah, no, it was definitely surprising. We got a couple guys in the chat here. George, one of our favorites, including his of course. Congrats. Yeah, Marcel, 60,000 followers. That's insane, man. That's crazy.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
think I've been stuck at I'm at 12 now. I got 12. I don't really care about it, honestly. It's cool though. Like, obviously, the people
yeah.
follow me, but I never expected to get more than when I started. I mean, even 1,000 was like a lot, right? Now you're at
It's
60.
but that's what it is. Last year I was like, I was trying to not trying. It sounds like I'm really trying, but I was at the 30K. I just reached 30K last year, and now it's 60. So people always tell me, man, it's so hard already to get 1K or 2K. Oh, you got 60. Believe me, man, at a certain moment, it keeps rolling for some reason, because
Yeah.
when I had like 100 or 200 followers, it took me almost, I think, a year, maybe more than a year to go to 800 or 900. It's crazy, it's really
Yeah.
weird, but
Yeah.
that's
No,
how it
for
works.
sure. It's awesome, though, man. I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
Doug Crosby scored at 54 if I were in too. So we'll talk about him as well. He's that
Uh,
dickhead's
uh,
gonna get his name mentioned a few times in this podcast.
at least he would have had the right winner if he did that time when he scored for Argentina.
That's funny. All right, I say let's get into it, man, because there's a lot to talk about. So UFC 282 recap, guys. Obviously, very interesting night of fights. I mean, Marcel, you start off with 10 straight finishes. It was honestly at that point. I mean, how is it not card of the year? You had 10 straight finishes. Like, when have you ever seen that? That's rare. And then the last two fights just completely took the wind out of the sails. Just disgusting. And it's like we're not even talking about the rest of the fights anymore. That's the sad part about this. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
it is.
So many good performances on this card. We'll get into all of them, but we're just talking about the shit judging again. What's
Yeah.
up, Joseph? Adam Marcel thoughts on Ankalaev head coach last day away after the draw. We'll talk about that as well. What's up, Sergio? Do you think Gordon got robbed? We're going to talk about that in a second here, man. Let's start with the main event, though, obviously, and then we'll work our way down. We'll start with the main event. Obviously, we're going to talk
Yeah.
about Pimblett and Gordon in a minute. But let's talk about Blachowicz and Ankalaev.
Yeah.
It was a competitive fight, Marcel. Honestly, more
Mhm.
competitive than I thought. I'll say that right now. I thought Ankalaev
Same.
would honestly win pretty easily, and it wasn't like that at all. Um, the scorecards are interesting for this one. I don't think this one's a robbery. I don't agree with the scorecard because I did score for Ankalaev. I do think he won 3-2, and you could probably give him that 10-8 in the fifth. So I think that he should have won the fight, but at the same time, I don't hate giving Blachowicz the first three rounds because they were really close competitive rounds on the feet. So I don't hate that. And Mike Bell was one of the judges who gave it, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt, Marcel. He is a great judge. So I kind of feel like, we've always talked about how good he is. We're not going to go and go against him because maybe we were against this call. It really came down to that one round for him. The problem I have with this one is some of the the Derek Cleary guy scored the third round for Blachowicz. Like, how? For Ankalaev, excuse me. How, Marcel? How? That doesn't make sense. So if you look at the individual scorecards, they don't really make sense. Again, I thought Ankalaev won, guys, because I thought he won the first round, but it was pretty close. So I don't think it's like a robbery. I do think the wrong fighter won. Jan even kind of said that he didn't feel like he won. He did say he felt like a draw was fair. I don't know, man. It's just a mess. And now you have a draw, and then Dana White got pissed, and then they booked Jamal Hill versus Glover Teixeira, which is crazy, right? Like an hour after this fight, Dana's like, "Fuck this, we're doing another fight now for the belt." Don't blame him. Dana hated the fight. It's funny how Dana hated this fight, but he didn't hate the Gordon and Pimblett fight. You know, that fight was garbage, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But Pimblett's performance was garbage. I'm just saying it was terrible.
Fight of the night.
Yeah, I'm sure Dana wanted to give them a bonus too. Just give me your thoughts on the main event, though. Like again, I had a 3-2 for Ankalaev. And I do think you can argue a 10-8 in the fifth. But, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Just give me your thoughts.
First round, I gave it to Magomed Ankalaev. It was a close round, the first round, definitely, but I gave it to Magomed. Second round, the most clear round for Jan, in my opinion, with a lot of leg kicks. Or Ankalaev barely could stand on his feet. I got to say the third round. Blachowicz started very good, but Ankalaev kind of took over in the last part of the round, So 50-50, I can see it going to Blachowicz, no problem. He did the most damage in that round, So you go 2-1 to Blachowicz. Fourth round, clear Ankalaev. Fifth round, clear Ankalaev. So for me, it was 3-2. I don't give a 10-8 round in the fifth round. So for me, it was 3-2 for Ankalaev. And Mike Bell, I saw Andy Hickey. He was posting a graphic earlier today on Twitter with the most descended judge, and Michael Bell was on top. If you look, he had the most descended scorecards. But if you look at the scorecards, 5 of those 7, no, let's say 5. There were 8 where he was the descended judge. 2 were draws. I put that out of the way. So 6 of those scores were split decisions. 5. I agree with him. There was Puna Soriano Maximov, he scored for Puna. And even that fight was, so you could score for Puna, So in my opinion, he's still the best judge, And he scored for Blachowicz. I don't agree with him, but I can see how he looks at it, So I'm okay with it. The thing that really pissed me off, actually, and I was kind of shocked by it, was afterwards, Dana, and you say an hour after, it was 10 minutes afterwards, if I'm correctly, he's going to the press conference. Yeah, what do you do now? You do Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill in January in Rio de Janeiro. I was like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, done deal. I was like, okay. A, super disrespectful to Blachowicz and Ankalaev. B, even more disrespectful to Anthony Smith, who was working for the UFC at that moment when he announced that, and he took Jamal Hill as his opponent away just because he wants to make a fight. Third, super disrespectful to Moreno Figueiredo. 4, who was supposed to headline the main card, the main event, but he's still super hesitant to make those flyweight fights to headline. Although Moreno and Figueiredo proved before that they definitely can carry a card, and I think definitely in Brazil with a lot of Brazilian fighters on it, And also, I think they really wanted to make up with Glover Teixeira. That's what I think, And it was very convenient that in their minds, I don't think it was necessary, but in their minds, they needed a main event above that flyweight title fight. So they were like, Teixeira, who can we do next? Now, Blachowicz, not we don't want that fight. Ankalaev. Dana probably think Ankalaev lost because he was zoned out after the third round, he said. Yeah. So he went with Jamal Hill. But just doesn't make sense to me. Listen, man, I'm happy for Glover. I'm happy for Jamal that they got the chances. But it doesn't make sense. And it actually, if you look back at it even more, it's even more disrespectful to the paying customer who paid $75, $80 for a pay-per-view in the US with a so-called title fight in the main event. And then it's a draw, and the UFC doesn't give a shit anymore about that fight and just saying like, oh, this is just a normal fight, not a title fight anymore. We don't do a rematch. So this is also disrespectful to your viewer. You know what I mean? It's just Dana White being a toolback idiot like he's always is, and he's sorry, I have to say this. And he was acting like a little kid again, He was very happy at the press conference. Alex Buyunin asked him one legit question, and he's starting to cry again like a little baby. Listen, man, the thing is with Dana White, and I'm going to say it for once and for all, dude did an amazing job with building the UFC from where he started at UFC 33, I think. He's done. Dude is completely done. He lost the plot. normal people, when you're at your 80, 85, you kind of getting a little bit, you gotta get a little bit childish again. He gets it at around his 50th already. You know what I mean? It's just doesn't make sense anymore. And it's also bad for the sport, in my opinion, what he's doing. And I understand fully that Blachowicz and Ankalaev are not happy with this at all, And Ankalaev definitely, in my opinion, I think if you ask 100% of the people, I think 85% of people will say Ankalaev won. You know what I mean? Why is he not in the next title fight? Does it make sense?
It should obviously be Ankalaev and Glover. I mean, that should be the fight.
I'm for sure if they would ask Ankalaev, can you fight next month in Brazil? And he is not how do you say that, suspended, by the commission or whatever. For sure he will fight Teixeira next month. Why wouldn't he do that?
Yeah.
So it's just stupid. It's just Dana White's ego again, and I'm getting sick of it. I'm sorry to say.
That's okay. I knew you'd go on a rant today. I'm going to go on one of the next fights. So, got some comments here. John, what's up, man? Was ever thinking I could have scored the first round wrong in the main event? Maybe a draw was the best card. I don't hate a draw either, because again, that first round was close, and if you score the fifth, 10-8 is probably a good scorecard. Looking back at it, I probably should have had a 48-46 too, because Jan did nothing that round, So either way, though, I did think Ankalaev barely won that first, won the fourth and fifth, so I had him winning the fight. So you know what I mean? That 10-8 didn't matter really on my scorecard because I still had him as the winner. But if you did score the first three for him, you have that choice to make. Do you score to draw? And obviously, one of the judges with Sal Diamato, he scored your draw. Sal's scorecards are usually pretty bad too, but I don't think it was the worst one because I think there's an argument for 10-8. Let me get some more comments here. Dana screwed Smith out of his fight. Even as an analyst, you can do nothing to Dana. Dana loves the numbers Paddy brings in. He's going to love every Paddy fight from here on out. Glover's the big winner. He sure was.
He was, yeah.
On Ariel's and Jamal Hill. And hey, Marcus, what's up? On Ariel's show today, Jamal Hill said he got the call to fight Glover in January before Ankalaev and Jan left the cage. This has to be pre-planned for the offer so fast. Most likely, yeah. Feel bad for Ankalaev. Yeah, me too. Ankalaev did not make any friends with the post-fight interview. No, he didn't. I mean, Dana White, I'm sure, and the UFC were too happy with some of his comments because I can't remember who asked him at the presser, but they were like, he doesn't want to fight in the UFC anymore. He's like, I don't care. This guy's one of the best fighters. Not only that, but he saved the card in a way because him and Jan, they stepped up to fight 5 rounds on extremely short notice, right? Obviously they're going to do it because the belt's on the line. I'm just saying, they could have both said no. You know what I mean, Marcel? Anyways, so that happened. Is there anything else you want to talk about the main event, or you want to go on to?
I want to reply to George Gennaro's comment.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, man, when you feel you got robbed from, I think Ankalaev obviously feels he got robbed from the belt. He got upset about it, and he said it. He also said the interpreter wasn't right what he said. He said, I don't want to fight in Nevada anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't say I want to leave the UFC.
Thank you for calling me an interpreter, by the way.
Yeah, I always remember that now because you always tell
me. I know,
me,
and it still bothers me all these really important people call it a translator. Yeah, anyways, we've talked about that, but yeah, translating for words and interpretations for verbal.
Yeah.
Sorry for written, I should say. Anyways, let's go to the co-main event. Let's get into it, okay? I mean, to me, this is one of the worst robberies I've ever seen. I mean, that's the honest truth. I don't think it's hyperbole. I really don't. I think this is one of the worst decisions in UFC history. There's no way in fucking hell Paddy Pimblett won this fight. I had a 3-0 for Gordon.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can give the second round to Pimblett, maybe, but these scorecards are fucked. I'm looking at them right now. 2 Pimblett first rounds. Ron McCarthy, that's John McCarthy's son. And then the other one was Douglas Crosby. He's a piece of shit, Douglas Crosby. Worst judge in MMA by far. Honestly, Marcel, there's got to be corruption going on behind the scenes, guys. There has to be. There has to be. There's no way these judges can be this bad. We all knew the UFC wanted Pimblett to win. I'm not saying the UFC necessarily is involved themselves, but something's going on. Something fucking smells bad. There's so much going on right now in the sport, controversy with the controversies. And to me, Marcel, when you see a scorecard, 3, sorry, it's not just one score, it's 3. 3 scorecards were wrong.
Yes, you saw the message I sent you from John McCarty to Ron McCarty.
Where?
I am in the Discord chat with by James.
When did you send it?
A few minutes, like a half an hour ago. You gotta scroll a little bit to
I'm reading right now. Okay, John McCarthy said, my son was one of the judges. He asked me, and I said, you got that wrong. I thought Gordon won 29-28. this can happen when you're a judge sitting there. You're getting the crowd responding to and Paddy does something. There's times where you're not seeing the angle, but you're hearing the reaction of the crowd and the influencer. And I think they got influenced by what the crowd was into. I'm glad John called his son, though. I mean, that's respectable. He said, hey, he got it wrong. This Douglas Crosby dickhead, I don't think he's ever spoken to the media. This guy's a piece of shit. He's ruined so many careers. Like, I just feel bad. And then Dana, and then there's so much to talk about this, but like Dana going to the press conference and I hated Gordon's game plan. What kind of game plan was this? Dude, the guy did enough to win. Again, you look at NBA decisions. I'll pull it up right now, Marcel. I'm a nice guy, but the one guy who scored it for Pimblett is not this guy's a dick. I mean, he's been a dick to me on Twitter. No, he's a dick. He's been a dick to me on Twitter. I'm sure maybe someone will send this to him. I don't really care, dude. Like, you were nothing but mean to me whenever we interacted on Twitter, and your scorecards suck, bro. Look at every other media member had it for Gordon. And you look at the fan scorecards, too. That's the thing, Marcel. I'll tell you right now, I look at NBA decisions all the time. Obviously, I know the guy. I hung out with him for that Glover share card with Yuri when I was in Halifax. We watched the card together. Usually he gets maybe like 20, 30 scorecards for fans. 2,000 scorecards. And look, Marcel, like 90% of the fans scored it for Gordon.
Yeah. And 30-27, the most scored card, you see? Yes,
and most of the media, well, I guess there was a little split, but yeah.
No, I mean the fans.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And then the media too, right? Like, it's just a joke. I mean, doesn't make any sense. Marcel, does this make sense to you? Like, what the hell's going on here?
I mean, I was watching the fight, and I saw three. How do you say that? The 3 rounds. I think the first 2 rounds were for Gordon, and the third round as well. I was kind of surprised. So what can I say else? Yeah, what the hell, man?
My niece is banging at the door trying to get in, but I'm telling her I'm doing a podcast. She's like, "Uncle, let me in." I'm like, "No, go away." Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. I expected I thought Pimblett lost the fight. I thought Gordon won, clearly. That's what I thought. And still, when they were going to read the scorecards, in the back of my mind, I had something like, are they going to give it to Pimblett?
I thought it might be a split. I was thinking maybe one will have a bad scorecard, but all 3 of them having a bad scorecard is just fucked. Marcel, there's got to be corruption going on. These guys are getting paid off or something. Like, how is this possible? Guys, how is it possible?
What's that? I mean, and it's look at the Twitter, from fighters, all fighters. I saw Twitter off said it was bullshit, bad judging, bad scoring.
Every fighter, I know, that's what I'm saying. And then you have these fucking moron judging apologists saying, "Well, it's not that bad, and it's understandable why." They said, "Fuck off! Like, go fuck yourselves! Like, this is a horrible scorecard. You fucked Jared Gordon out of one of the biggest wins of his career. You fucked him out of 50% of his paycheck, all to get this guy Pimblett to win." And Marcel, I think Pimblett got exposed. He's a fraud. He's not even that good, man. I'm sorry, but he's not. For me, you couldn't get by a guy who's not even a top 15 fighter. What would happen if you fought a top 15 guy like a Demirez Magulov or Armin Tsarsuke? We'll talk about in the next podcast. Get steamrolled.
I'm not surprised. Not at all. I said it from the beginning. The dude fought 3 guys. He got 3 good wins. Don't get me wrong. He got tagged in 2 of the 3 fights. And he's talking a big game, but he ain't that good. He is just an average fighter with a big personality. But an average fighter. And book him against anybody in the top 15, he gets smashed. I
want to pull up the stats for this fight too. By the way, I want to look at the stats. Let me get the comments and I'll pull up the stats
And I want to say something about these judges. Apologies.
Can you hear that, by the way, or no? Can you hear?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, I gotta get her out of here. I'm gonna get her.
I'll keep talking.
Sorry, guys.
No problem. So, I mean, that's really annoying, man. That the judges, these judges apologies on Twitter. It really bothers me because they're always trying to be like, I feel like they're trying to be edgy. Everybody knows that it's not.
Please, thank you. Please. No, you have to go. Please. Sweetheart, you have to leave. I can't do my show. Guys. Apologies, man. This has never happened. I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Sorry, guys. I apologize.
My
She's trying to get in here. She wants to go on camera and stuff, but I told her no. Go away. I apologize, guys. My apologies. What are you gonna do? The kids, right?
Yeah. So. Of course, but these guys who keep how do you say that apologize for the judges on Twitter, it's so annoying, dude. I mean, I really have to.
Sorry, just comments. Funny. Put her in a guillotine, quiet her down.
I really have to keep myself quiet to not react to them. You know, I don't really want to do that, but y'all know who we're talking about. You know, if you're on Twitter, so I don't even have to call names. You got like 2 or 3 who always defending the judges, and then you got one president of the judges apologist. And I can't even see the guy anymore. I also unfollow them when I followed them 2 years ago.
They're all just a bunch of idiots. I mean, they're just come on. This was this decision's garbage. Like it's when I mean for me, like I still think that like the Ross Pierce, like actually it reminds me of that fight, Ross Pierce and Diego Sanchez, when I think a guy wins 3-0 and the other guy wins. You know, most people thought that Ross won that fight 3-0. Remember? Again, Marcel, I think I do 100% this is a robbery, and I think it's one of the worst robberies ever. I really do.
Adam, did you see one English person on Twitter saying that it was a robbery?
No, maybe a lot. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of them are biased, especially the journalists. I find the British journalists are very biased,
man. Yeah,
they're very biased, man. I just think you got to call it like it is. Like I think a lot of the journalists in the sport. I hate to say it because I am media, but I'm not as involved in the media as I once was. Obviously, like I have a job outside of MMA now, so I feel like I could say like more things about it. But like I'm just disappointed. You know, I was really disappointed at the press conference too. It took him like 20 minutes for someone to ask about the judging. Like, what the fuck? How does it take that long to ask about the judging? It should have been the first fucking question. Like John Morgan, and John's a nice guy, but he's throwing these like layup questions at Dana White. Like, what are we learning from like some of these questions? Like ask about the judging, ask about the controversy. Like, who cares if Dana gets pissed? And by the way, people are like, oh, they're just scared that Dana's going to pull their weight, their accent. It's not going to happen. You can ask about the judges. It's not like Dana scored the fight. Go ahead.
You know, not John Morgan, but some random people I don't know asking, Dana, oh, what an amazing event. Sold out house.
Oh, I know. I only brought up John because he gets the first question. I like John. Yeah. He's a really good, he's one of the best journalists. I think he should have won Journalist of the Year more than one. I think he's won it once. He should have won it more than once, during the years. He's a very good journalist. I'm just saying, he gets the first question. The first question should have been about the Pimblett decision.
I agree.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It should. And again, watching it, I'm pulling my hair out thinking, why is no one asking this question? And then our boy Alex finally asked a tough question about, I think he was asking about Connor, and Dana gets super
Colonel Chandler. Yeah.
Chandler and Connor, Dana gets pissed, even though he's the one that said it.
Yeah. And I mean, you got like I said, like you said as well, John Morgan's a good journalist, but you got like 60% doormats out of there, who are always
Dana, great event. Thank you for bringing it back to Las Vegas.
He's always there.
Like fuck off. Like, why are you
so annoying,
up to me, dude?
Imagine
thanking him for being at the event doing your job. Like, what the hell? What's going on here? I'm gonna go thank my boss for being at work today. Thank you so much for having me at work. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, guys. Like, what an absolute joke. Like, yeah, the event was good. Dana is the boss of the UFC. We all know that. He plays an important role in the sport, but it's the fighters at the end of the day who are putting on the fights.
I'm watching this bullshit at 8:30 a.m. in the morning without any sleep. And then some bozo journalist, who I don't call an MMA journalist, comes out with, Dana, it's great to be at this event. Amazing fights today. I'm sure this was a sellout. How glad are you to have another event in front of so many people? Shut the fuck up.
Questions are awful. Home. They don't add anything. You're not learning anything. Anyways, let me get some comments here. Oh boy, I knew we were gonna freak out about this, but for all 3 judges, here's Glenn's comment. For all 3 to score with Pimblett, it looks corrupt. Either that or every MMA fan in media has no idea about the rules, which makes it worse. That's the thing, Glenn. Like 99% of the fans in media who scored it for Gordon and scored it easily for him don't know what they're talking about, but these 3 fucking retards know how to score the fights better than the rest of us. Screw off. There's corruption going on, man. There has to be. Pimblett should be wearing a baklava and gloves. That was complete robbery. Completely agreed. Even James Krause was shocked by the decision. Yeah, I'm sure James had it, the Pimblett decision prop in his Discord. Yeah, the Sabatello 50-45. We'll talk about that. But that was, Marcel, first time in UFC history, the loser of a fight was scored 50-45.
Bellator.
Yeah, can you fucking believe that? By Doug Crosby. And then they fly this guy across the country to Vegas. This dude gets paid. And these people are like, oh, they don't pay these guys enough. Fuck off. This guy definitely made more than we did this last week. He got to go to Mohegan Sun, and he got to go to Las Vegas and watch great fights up close and personal. How does it not get better than that? Ugh, tired of this. No coincidence, same judges appear every event, no blue blood coming in. They're all covering each other's asses and taking the brown envelopes. I don't think he's wrong. There's corruption going on. Cod Pass, I like you guys called it obvious corruption going on. Most journalists are scared to acknowledge it. I don't know why they're so scared, dude, but it's clear there's something fucking fishy going on behind the scenes. Paddy's performance was, Dana was mad. Where's Paddy's urgency or plan B? He looked terrible. His worst performance in the UFC. Yeah, I know, right? Even my niece was upset about the scorecard.
Yeah, I understand. You saw Dana high-fiving the barstool guys?
That was weird too. That I saw that video. He's like, Dana looked like nervous, and then he goes like, "Okay, you guys won." Like, why did he care? Like, why does he care so much? Like, you're not controlling the decision. I call these apologists the criterion. Sure, people say Paddy won or barstool employees. I mean, it sure seems like it, right? So I put 10 on Gordon and Ankalaev both win by decision. You should have probably won that decision. By the way, there's a funny tweet floating around that's like, if Paddy and O'Malley fought, they would both get their hands raised. Marcel's a goat. Sure is. Kroos goes to prison and get audited, which is worse. Kroos is fucked. We've talked a lot about Kroos the last few weeks. He's completely screwed. Even Dana White was talking. Remember, you saw the federal prison now? They're talking about for Kroos. Dude, he's going to jail. You know that, right? Like, he's going to jail.
Yeah, I follow it, yeah.
He's fucked, dude. He screwed himself.
Alberta had the thing back.
They've overturned it. Ontario hasn't yet. Again, I can't bet on it.
You're waiting for it, right?
I went 10-2 on the weekend or whatever it was, like or 9 or right. There's a draw. 9-2. Sorry, 9-2-1. Should have been 10-2. I think you had 10-1-1. You did great. Good job.
Yeah, it's Silva wrong and the main event I got wrong. Yeah.
Well, you didn't get it wrong. I mean, who's gonna pick a draw? Like, you get it back early. No one's gonna. Well, I mean, you could pick a draw, I guess, but that would be crazy. Anything else you want to talk about, or should we go through the rest of the card?
I mean, we're 30 minutes in. We've been crazy about this last two cards, and I think justified. I mean, I think this is also why people have tuned in to hear us about these two fights.
I do think so too, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get some more comments. Do you think it's score draw because people hammered the live line Magomed Ankalaev? Dude, I actually was thinking about this too. During I can't remember. Someone sent me their screen capture. They got plus 275. I think it was that True guy who's here a lot. I think it was him. He was on Discord, in James's Discord. And, like, that's a great live line. And here's the other thing. And I was listening to another podcast. They were talking about how, like, the commentators talk about the betting lines, like, and the judges are kind of close to them, too. Like, they kind of know about the betting odds. That's kind of weird, right? Like, in the NFL, the commentators, I think, are above. Like, they're in a press box, for instance. But even in the NFL, they don't ever talk about the betting odds. They're never like, this team is a minus 7-point favorite. They never say that until the end of the game. They might be like, some of you guys that have some money on this game might be like really paying attention to this play because, like, a team might cover the spread or whatever. But they'll never explicitly say this line is like this. It's just the UFC, they're in bed with gambling, but at the same time, the gambling is very controversial. Anyway, I do think that's a good point, though. I don't know.
I gotta ask you something, right, about this. Now you're bringing this up. Dana is like, also in the press conference, he was talking about the gambling, and he's like, "Yeah, you what do you think betting on your own fight or betting as a coach? It doesn't look good." I'm like, dude, you're pretty much in bed with gambling. You advertise it almost everywhere. You have your even their own show over there with gambling. I mean, what? You talk about it the whole damn time, and then you expect other guys to not talk about it. Obviously, when betting is big, in every sport, and also in MMA, so it makes sense, And Dana's just like acting like oh, not my fault that is getting involved here. Not my fault. Dude, you're pretty much advertising it the whole damn time with minus this, plus this, And also, I think during the Paddy Gordon fight, I think Paddy was still the favorite during that whole fight, which I saw in the, how do you say that? He was still a minus 140 the whole damn time. So, I don't know.
It's weird, man, but I do think it's a point. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it's just something's wrong. Like, it doesn't seem right, guys. It's fucked up. Some more comments. Here's a comment from Andrew. What's up, Andrew? And Rocco Christian's Paddy had about what scores and Dana game playing were the exact opposite of the judges actually scored. I know. Isn't that funny? Because Dana's like, what was he doing in the third round? Well, Gordon actually needed a finish at that point because two of the judges had him down to 2018 anyways. How could you watch that fight and then going into the third round say Gordon needs to finish to win this fight? Like, there's no way. There's no way, Marcel. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about Ponzi in a second, too. That was a crazy fight, too. How much of a stretch is the Athletic Commission and Gambling Commissions working together? I don't know if it's a gambling commission, but, like, you're talking about the gambling operators, like DraftKings, etc. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if, like, I mean, listen, honestly, at this point, I guess you can't write anything off, especially after the Kroos thing, but, yeah. With the recent withdrawals announced during the card, maybe you think UFC doing favors with DraftKings. You're saying at the end of the, like, how they're, like, for instance, like Derek Lewis, for instance, like they waited so long. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Mark Montoya and Eric Nixick are way more coaches that bet fights. They're saying that way more coaches that bet fights. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of coaches bet on fights. I don't think necessarily, like, again, it's not like they should have been, but at the same time, like, until recently, they didn't really ban it, Marcel, until like a month ago, you know, like, because the thing is, people were doing it, like, you pull your phone out, you make a bet, like, no one really cared, you know. It's because Kroos was going way beyond of what he should have been doing. That's what happened.
Let's be honest, man. If somebody, a coach or a fighter, bets on fights, and they're not like posing with it or showing it to everybody, nobody gives a damn, and nobody knows pretty much, you know. But it was like there are some like really open about it. It's like, yeah, I bet this and that, and you should do that. It's not a good look, you know what I mean?
I agree.
So. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be like too open about it. Yeah, you can be. I mean, do it in a good way, but don't go to the internet and say like, oh, I'm this and I do that. I'm being a coach. You know, if you're a handicapper or you're whatever, you know, you can do that. You know, but not if you're a coach. In my opinion, I agree with that. But if you do it, be smart. You know.
I agree. Pimblett flipped to +180 was really late in the third. Yeah. I couldn't see I can't look at UFC odds at DraftKings right now because the Ontario banned. If open scoring was a thing, people riot when they hypothetically see the scorecards after round 2. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Andrew. I like, again, people are like, open scoring is a solution. How is that solving anything? The scorecard's already in, and they're wrong. How does it solve anything?
Imagine it's 2018 with open scoring for Paddy, and Gordon has to go for broke, and Paddy knocks him out because Gordon has to go for broke.
Yeah.
Then it's influenced by that scorecard.
I agree with that too. That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Sativa Frankie, Fight Ready is a betting podcast. I think he stopped doing it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know he did have one, and it's actually a pretty good podcast. But yeah, I don't know if he's still doing it anymore. Cares longer. I agree with this guy too. I think you should be able to, like, I've always said, like, fighters should be able to bet themselves. Even your coaches, like, there was not a problem. Guys, you have to understand, for years, people were doing that. For years. Until last month or a couple months ago when Kroos went on Ariel's show and was, like, openly talking about, you know, I want to take over people's betting accounts. And then, obviously, it looks like, I mean, well, let's just say obviously, allegedly, excuse me, that's what I meant to say. Allegedly looks like he bet against his own guy. I mean, you're breaking a cardinal rule when that happens, right? When you're betting against your own fighter. That's just wrong, you know? And we don't know exactly what happened yet. We're going to find out. Glenn's talking about the snooker corruption for betting. Yeah, there's a lot of corruption in other sports like tennis. Basketball used to have a referee that was shaving points for gambling purposes. I mean, there's a lot of corruption that goes on, guys. Like, and why would we ever think MMA was immune to it? And again, when you see a decision like that, it smells it so bad, man.
What about? I mean, the FIFA World Cup. Yeah. You guys call it soccer, we call it football. That FIFA is one of the most corrupt organizations in the world. You know. How the hell you get a World Cup to Qatar? You know, that old president, that Blotter guy, he got it there, and now he said during the tournament he's not president anymore. He's like, yeah, we should have never been to there. Yeah, dude, you already took a lot of money to get it there. You know, so I mean, and I don't have any problem. It can be there. I don't give a shit. You know, but don't try to act like you're innocent. You know.
Right. No, I know you're saying. Excuse me. Of course, I made a word for everyone, for sure, especially in Ontario. Okay, I honestly, let's move on. Let's move on, because we don't have a ton of time left in this podcast. Only crutch I believe Kroos has is when he was on the ESPN betting show for credibility. I mean, the guy like knows the sport. Like, I think he had some good takes. I used to listen to his podcast with James and Nick. Like, I think he did a good job. And it's just, again, you know, guys, he just got greedy. That's what happened. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Marcel, Alex Morono gets knocked out in the third round after winning the first 2 rounds. I feel bad for him, man. I mean, he was clearly winning that fight, and he just gets clipped. You know, good for Santiago, obviously. Huge knockout when he needed this. Marcel kind of saved his career. I mean, he lost. It'd be 4 losses in the last 5 fights. He gets the win now. He's got some momentum. He's winning all these bonuses lately too. Morono, Dana White said they paid him his show win money. In addition to the show, obviously they paid him his win bonus because they appreciate him stepping up a short notice, and he put on a great fight. I don't really feel like his stock drops too much. It's just he got clipped. It happens, His chin has never been that good. He's been knocked out a few times now in the UFC. But man, I kind of feel bad for Marcel because he's waiting the whole fight. Also, you got to feel bad for people that bet on the over in this fight because it's 1 second away from going over, right? Like, that's crazy, eh? Like, and that's another thing I'm thinking, like, the referee stops it then. Like, sometimes they wait an extra second, Marcel? Like, does that ever play in the factor too? Like, where they're recording the official knockout? Like, I don't know. Like, everything's just making me really paranoid now. Yeah. But anyways, fun fight. Santiago gets the win. Any quick thoughts? Good week for Argentina, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was hoping he would have been the only Argentinian winning on Saturday, but he wasn't.
Nope.
First 2 rounds, Morono, very good.
By the way, one judge had it tied. I don't agree with that. Morono won the first 2 rounds.
I know. I think we should have shit on his face. But I think Morono definitely won the first 2 rounds. They really looked good, but it was a 4 days notice fight, and Ponzinibbio, his coaches said, like, you're behind 2 rounds. Go for it. Finish this guy. And he did it. He has the tools to do it, and he did it. So respectable, good for Ponzinibbio. This fight really showed me that I don't think that we can expect anything in the top 15 anymore from Ponzinibbio, dude. I know Morono, he's legit and all, but he's also like, how do you guys say that, borderline top 15 in the UFC, And I feel like Ponzinibbio is around that place as well, and I don't see him getting a lot higher at this moment anymore. It's just sad that he was had this bacteria, which got him injured for a long time. He came back. He lost his last 2 fights, split decisions. Now we got a win, a come from behind win. Good for him, man. I'm happy for him. He's a good dude. I always like Ponzinibbio. Good for him. And respect to Morono, man. Taking this fight 4 days notice, 180 catch weight, making that catch weight, doing what he had to do. All respect to him,
Yeah, I agree with that. Morono got major respect points for sure. He looked good, man. He looked good. Thank God Lawler pulled out. Probably a more exciting fight, right? Switch from my late pick Morono was almost worth it. Yeah, and I mean, he almost won the fight. He was 2 minutes away from winning. Randy Brown Ponzi would be a good fight. I was dating the Octagon after the Ponzi KO. I don't know. I guess he just liked the fight a lot. I think he really enjoyed the fight, breaking the top 15 for sure. Yeah, it'd be a good fight. I wouldn't mind that. Next fight here, Dricus du Plessis defeats Darren Till 3rd round submission. Give my boy Marcus credit here. He won I think you won like 10K, right, Marcus? I don't know if you're in the chat right now, but you posted your tickets. So nice job, man. I mean, me and Marcus have been talking about this fight for months. I was super confident in du Plessis winning. 10-8 first round, Marcel. 10-8.
You started to sweat, dude, in the second round.
I was sweating in the second round. I was because, he started getting tired. Here's the thing. He's weird, though, right? Because, It's like he gets tired the second round, but the third round, this guy comes out in his fights looking better than ever. Like that fight with Brad Tavares, he won the 3rd round, and now against Darren Till. I mean, I don't know if this guy's going to be a champ, because I don't know if he is at that level, but of like a Prayer or Adesanya. But I think he's very good. He's definitely top 10. Darren Till is just overrated, man. I mean, he's lost 5 of 6. He shouldn't have beat Wonderboy. He really should be losing 6 of 7. His best win is Donald Cerrone. I mean, this guy, or Kelvin Gaston, but he barely won that fight. He's just an overrated fighter, Marcel. He is. I'm sorry, but he is. That's what my boy Marcus is saying. I'm just surprised how many people actually were confident until winning this fight. I really am. Like, there was just nothing to like about him here. And yeah, the quick tap. I mean, he did the same thing as Brunson, didn't he? Like, it was like a quick tap. He didn't really fight it. Any thoughts on this one? I mean, du Plessis is good, but give me your thoughts.
First round, a clear win for du Plessis. The first round. I mean, it was. People were saying like it's a 10-8, but Darren Till came back in the last.
Yeah,
it's a 10-9. But thing, right? I felt like it was close to a 10-7. He came back to make it a 10-8. So I had it still a 10-8. Second round, I think du Plessis again, his cardio isn't that great. He gasses after 5 minutes, and Till brought it to him. Till won the second round, in my opinion. That was at that moment, it was I think 1918, or he tied it up 1919 or whatever. Third round, let's be honest, man. Dricus might be fortunate that Darren Till doesn't have a ground game, because he could take him down whenever he wanted, and he got a perfect time takedown, got right into the mount, choked him out. Darren Till didn't even fought it. I think Darren Till was super gassed as well. He was also kind of done. Yeah, good win for Duplessis, man. But I'm really hesitant for him to see him against a top 10 guy, because I feel like he needs better cardio, against these guys. Because if you go against a Sean Strickland, if you go against a Jared Cannonier, who's even a Jack Hermanson, who is I think still above him. If you go against these guys, you need a better cardio, dude, or you have to put them away in the first round. But you need a better cardio, because, and that's why it's so crazy. He won against Brett Tavares in the third round, like you said, because Brett normally wins the third round, and Brett didn't win the third round against Duplessis. So, yeah, I don't know. He is a talent, we can see him come far, but I'm still not convinced. But I think he is a very good fighter. So let's hope his cardio is getting better. I think if his cardio is getting better, he can come very far in the UFC,
This guy's saying, glad you're finally being honest about your negative feelings about Dana. It's always obvious to be holding a grudge against him. I mean, I hope you're not talking about me, because I didn't say anything. I think you're talking about
Marcel, said something.
Right? Yeah. I mean, do you have it? Do you dislike him, or Marcel?
The thing is, like, I pretty much said it,
Yeah, you're pretty critical.
When he came into the UFC, he did a lot of good things for the sport. I haven't forgot that. But at a certain moment, when you're somewhere, sometimes when you are too long there, you get more power, you got more money, your boundaries are kind of getting more different, and it's not always a good thing. So I don't say that I don't hate him or whatever, but I don't like him in this position anymore. I think he's making weird decisions, bad decisions for the company, bad decisions for a sport. And that's what I said. So it's like, if David says, like, you're a new fan and you like him, that's okay, because when I became a fan of of MMA and watched the UFC, I liked him as well in the beginning. I thought he's straight to the point. He says whatever he wants, he does it, and he's cool, I thought. But believe me, if you're gonna follow the sport for 10 years more, and he's still here in 10 years being the UFC president, you're gonna dislike him as well. I literally speak to fans who are watching longer the sport and fans who are just watching the sport. And most fans who are just watching the sport, there's nothing wrong with it, really like Dana White. There's nothing wrong with it, It's your opinion, that's okay. But fans who have been longer in the sport have seen more things, probably, and don't like what they see,
Well, he told Brad Okamoto, like, he doesn't know how much longer he's going to be the president. So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, but how long he did say
I don't know,
that
maybe
he's still here.
Maybe the end of the decade. I don't know. Like, it could be another 10 years. You never know.
But to reply to David, I understand what he means, and it's just my opinion, I don't say you.
Here's what David said. He said, "New fans like myself appreciate him after a lifetime of weak sports commissioners. I love him in the way he keeps the UFC machine going. He always acts like a dictator, but I don't care. That's fair.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Both you guys can have your opinion. This
sure.
all due respectfully. All right, was the first round 10-8? I think so, in that Dricus fight. But again, the comeback in the last minute, you could have given a 10-9 to. I think either one's fine. Crazy thing, Strickland finishes Dricus in the 5-rounder. I would favor Strickland because of the cardio.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree, Marcus. His striking looked a little not great. It didn't look amazing in this fight, but the ground game his ground game looked dominant, right? Like, but again, I remember I talked about this last week. I'm like, why is Till at middleweight? Like, he's a welterweight. Even Dricus said this after the fight. He's like, I think Darren should move down. Not true. Dana's promoter is the best, and not care all his lies. I care that he makes the fights that he made and grows the sport. All right, bro. I mean. I got Dana. Where is he? He's right here. There he is. Dana's right there, man. So he could see you guys. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Ilir Topuria, we both called him. Marcel defeats Bryce Mitchell. Didn't think he submitted him. I mean, that's amazing. So we've talked about this though. Like, this guy's a future champ. I love him. Any quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, I picked him by knockout in the first round, because I was thinking, like, his stand-up game is much better than Bryce. And I was kind of surprised that so many people were like, oh, Bryce is going to win this. Easy money for Bryce. Like, you guys haven't seen Topuria fight before, It's like, I thought it would have been more competitive, not going to lie. Bryce, some people gave the first round to Bryce, which doesn't make sense to me. I know he got the takedown late, but I think Topuria did a lot more in the first round. Second round, Topuria, yeah, he finished him, man, and he did look good. And he actually, I think this is a breakout performance for Ilya in the US. I think I can call myself a hardcore fan. Many hardcore fans already knew about him, but a lot of hardcore fans didn't, and were really high on Bryce. Obviously, with that twister submission they've seen, and against the domination he had against Barbosa, I understand that. And Topuria showed, man, that he is really good, and I feel like he is kind of the star of the card, last Saturday. Many people saw it that way, and rightfully so.
Man.
He's really good.
Really fucking good, dude. Which we already knew. I mean, we liked him for a long time. He's great. I do think he could be a champion in the UFC. I think he's that good. And I told his manager, Malky Call, who follows me. By the way, Malky was both guys. He's both guys' manager, so he's like, oh man, it sucks when your two guys fight each other, but it was an important fight in the division. But I told Malky a few months. Remember that fight with Jai Herbert? I'm like, why is this dude at lightweight? Like, this is not a good weight class. And Malky and Abe went after me a little bit on Twitter, and I was like, whatever, guys. I'm like, he's going to be a champ at 145. Send him back down. And then 2 months later, Marcel, or whatever, 6 months later, he's fighting at 145. Topuria is the guy to dethrone Volk. I mean, he might be. He's fucking good. Last time we see Ilya and Paddy on the card, the UFC will never book this fight. They will never book this fight. Ilya would take his soul. Don't you think, Marcel?
Dude,
fight wouldn't even be close, honestly.
No.
I don't even care what the weight class.
And Ilya's much shorter, but
he would just take him down and beat him up. He would finish Paddy. I have no doubt in my mind. He's a stud. This guy is 5-0 now in the UFC with 4 straight finishes. He is phenomenal. I love him. All right, go to the prelims here. Let's go through the prelims quick, Marcel. Raul Rosas Jr. defeats Jay Perrin. I'm not surprised he won. The fact he submitted him in the neck crank in the first is very impressive. 18 years old. Guy is kind of a joker, too. I mean, this dude is going to be a good fighter for many years to come. It's too soon to say if he'll be like a contender, obviously. He's super young. He's 18. But Marcel, it looks like he's going to be a 135er in the UFC for many years. He'll probably be in the UFC for a decade. Any thoughts?
Yeah, maybe even longer.
He might be in the UFC for 20 years. It's possible. Yeah. Like, crazy, right?
Yeah, he looked really good,
Look great
against Jay Perrin. I got to say about Jay Perrin, man, I really like Jay, but Jay really got the fans led to him, on Twitter and stuff. I understand that it's nasty when you get horrible DMs and whatever, but he really got riled up, and also against Rosas. Rosas didn't do shit to him, honestly, and he got super riled up in the weigh-ins. And I think he said something like, "I break your jaw," and Rosa said, "Like, dude, you're 0-2." So I don't know. And after the fight, Rosas went to him to shake his hand and ever. So I mean, yeah, but just a good win for Rosas. Debut win, first round submission. What can you do more? And I'm happy for the dude. He got 50K. Everybody got 50K with a finish. So yeah.
Yeah, that was nice of Dana to do that. We'll say that. I mean, you want to talk about the bad stuff, but let's give him some credit here. He didn't have to do that. It was nice of him, right? It's kind of like a Christmas gift or something like that. I'm with you on that.
See, I can say something good about Dana.
There you say something nice. There you go. Yeah, he looked great. Raul Rosas Jr. is the it factor. Solid MMA fighter, finishing fights, performance in the microphone is super good. Guy can't drink a beer and he's fighting the UFC. How crazy is that? Like, someone's going to give him one on the way out of the octagon, like they do the time.
Oh yeah, you got to be 21 over there, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, Canada, I think it's 19. I want to say
over here it's 18.
Pretty sure I had my first beer before that. Although I don't really drink that much anymore, anyways. Though my 20s is a different story. Jairzinho Rosenstrike knocks out Chris Daukaus. Talked about last week. I mean, why is Chris a heavyweight? He's not a heavyweight. 3 straight knockout losses for Chris Daukaus, man. He came in the UFC, 4 straight knockout wins, looked like a contender, and he's just getting destroyed now. Him and his brother both need to take a long time off, I think, right now, Marcel. They need to get back in the gym and figure out what they want to do with their careers, because they're both getting, like, combined 5 straight knockout losses between the two of them. It's not good.
It's crazy.
Crazy, right? Like, they're both looking amazing at times, and I don't know.
I still think they're very talented.
They are talented, Marcel, but I don't know if they're like contender level, obviously, right? Good for Biggie boy. Your guy wins again.
Yeah, not didn't pull the frozen strike this time. So yeah.
So funny. Next fight here, Edmund Shabazi knocks out Dalcha Logan Bull. I mean, honestly, no surprise here. Dalcha's not good. Dalcha's getting cut. I'm pretty sure his record in the UFC is 2-5. He's getting cut. Good for Edmund, gets that win. Needed the win. Again, we kind of forget Marcel. He's only 25. He's so young. 5-3 now in the UFC. Quick thoughts on his performance. He looked good.
Yeah, man. And you see that now he has he left Glendale Fight Club alongside with his brother. He's now at Extreme Couture. I think his brother's at the American Kickboxing Academy.
By the way, that's his first bonus in the UFC. He didn't get one for knocking out Brad Tavares with that head kick. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Go ahead.
I mean, good for him. He also, I think he was managed by Ronda before. Now he's managed by Dominance by Ali.
Sorry, that's
So
funny. He managed by Ronda.
yeah, Ronda was his manager, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but good for him, man. He's now at Extreme Couture and BK MMA. So and he looked better. I think. He always had that cardio issue. After 5 minutes, he was pretty much gone with his cardio. That was his biggest issue. He looks solid, man. He got the finish in the second round. I'm happy for him. He's a good guy. I'm talking to his brother sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Really good guys. I know his brother was really upset about the last fight when Edmund was in his corner, and that's why they left. So yeah. I mean, good for them.
I'm happy for him too. I like him. Trained 2 brothers in different camps.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
Chris Curtis. There's an upset. There was only Chris Curtis was the only upset I think on the whole card. Isn't that crazy? And then TJ Brown was actually close to the favorite. That in the draw. So yeah, I mean it was mostly a chalk card, which I said last week it would be. Chris Curtis though does get the win. Buckley won the first round, then Curtis knocks him on the second. Another knockout loss for Buckley, another knockout win for Curtis. Should have seen it coming, right? Any quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, I think Buckley did look really good early on in the fight, but Chris Curtis has that knockout power, and I feel like he knocked him out twice.
Yeah,
he knocked him out on the ground, then he hit him again. He woke up, and then he knocked him out again.
Yeah.
So,
who was the ref in that fight? I gotta check. Jason Herzog. Yeah, it's a tough spot for him, but I do think he went out twice too. But good for him, eh? Good.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, man, Chris. He always say I'm super petty, and we can see that on Twitter against, for example, against what's his name again? Against Jack Hermanson. He was still super petty last week when Delice won against him. He tried to rub it in. But on the other hand, I always like Chris Curtis, man. I feel like he came too late in the UFC, also thanks to a certain someone who didn't give him a contract. But I think he deserved it after the Dana White Contender Series win against, I think, Ryan Lilly. He defeated with a hook kick.
Right.
I think he retired twice, right? And then came back on the same night to fight Ray Cooper in PFL, I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. He's a good fighter. And he pretty much turned his career around, man, when he came into the UFC. And very fun fighter to watch as well.
I agree. I mean, I've always liked him, and he's really done well in the UFC. A couple other fights. We'll just go through the rest of the prelims really quick. Billy Quarantillo comes back after losing the first round to Hernandez and Alexander Hernandez and gets the win in the second one.
You jinxed Alexander Hernandez.
I did because I thought he looked great in that first round, but then he gassed out. The weight cut was obviously too much. The pace. I mean, I expected Quarantillo to win. I was just surprised how good Hernandez looked. TJ Brown looked great. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Give me your thoughts.
So when you tweeted that out, man, I felt the exact same way, and I was like, no, I'm not going to tweet that because what if he got a momentum shift in the second round, and it happened, and I was like, oh my god, I tweeted, and I'm looking at people out of you like, bro, you jinxed it.
I know, I saw the tweets, I know, and they're not wrong either. It's like when I talked about the Rob Font and Cheeto Vera fight, and I was like, man, Rob Font looks amazing because he did, and then he gets dropped and then loses, so it happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Joe? Glad to have you here, man. You think Canelo was the best for his career? Maybe. I mean, Curtis has done well since then, so probably. Yeah. TJ Brown looked good. Marcel against Eric Silva, even without James Krause in his corner, against the third round submission. Again, Eric Silva too old. That's what I was worried about. 35 years old, pretty old for a debut. Cameron Simon gets the win over Stephen Kozlov. I thought Kozlov looked really good early on. Got tired, obviously, as the fight went on. I do think Kozlov's better than I thought, though. I mean, his grappling's really good. It's definitely good. I think the illegal knee, I honestly think the guy should have taken the DQ. I really think he should have. What do you think, Mike?
We were in the discussion of this one.
You think he should have taken the DQ?
No. I think, I think, and I said it also in the Discord, in James's Discord, and people didn't agree with me, but that's okay. I felt like he clearly hit him in the face, and Kozlov reacted like, I got hit. He wanted to continue, and then he was like, fuck, I got hit in my face while I was knee down. Yep. So for me, he was overplaying it. Obviously, he was hit, but he was overdoing it, in my opinion. And you could see, and you could see it in the if you look at not in replay but in real time, you could see what I'm saying right now.
I think it was a pretty brutal knee, man. I mean, he was
it
on his
was
hands and knees, dude. Like it's beyond illegal. And for the guy to say like it wasn't my intention, like what was your intention then?
But
like you threw the knee, bro. It was clearly intended to hit the guy.
Of course, and it was a brutal knee. But I felt like that he was still with his senses. He felt the knee. He wanted to continue, and then he was like, "Fuck, this is an illegal thing. Let's buckle. Let's how do you say that? Curl up."
Yeah.
But he continued, so I have respect for that. He took his time. He took the time. He actually took shorter time than he could have taken. So I respect that. And Simon, he finished the fight, and I think he needed to finish the fight. I think one judge had it 1-1, other judge had it 2-0 for Coslow, minus the point deduction. So he had to stop the fight with the stoppage.
Yeah. And Coslow and Ravens MO both underdogs screamed for the quit the fight. Ravens won. That's a good pick. Whose stock do you think dropped most at 282? Darren Tills. Let's see. Jay Perrin, he's going to get cut, I think. Chris Dawkins, I mean, his stock. Dalcher's getting cut. Eric Silva, I mean, he didn't look very good either. So I guess those guys. I don't know.
Alexander Hernandez.
Yeah, because he looked good after the first, but that weight cut to 145 is hard. Anyways, I think that's. I'm pretty good talking about this card now. Like I think I've got my emotion out of me because we wanted to talk about it. I think you did too. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, or talk about Bellator really quick before we get out of here? Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, we're gonna go through Bellator really quick, guys. We'll talk about this awful scorecard quickly. 50-45 is intelligence bad. I think you can go 48-47 either way in this fight. It comes down to who you score the second round to. I think it was a close fight. I have no problem with Stotts winning. He looked pretty good. It wasn't the greatest fight, it really wasn't. But he got the win. Any quick thoughts on Stotts and Sabatello?
Yeah, I gotta act like Sabatello here. 48-47 could have gone either way. I think Stotts won the fight 48-47, but it's good. Danny Sabatello doesn't give a fuck what I think. But yeah, I think Stotts won the fight. I think he won the fight 48-47. It was a close fight. 50-45 is ridiculous, I mean, what can you do? But close fight like I expected. I thought that Sabatello looked good with his takedowns. He kind of controls sometimes studs on the ground, which I knew he was going to try it, but I didn't expect him to have so much success with it. I thought Stotts still won the fight. He did more damage in my opinion. He looked good. Yeah. Fun. I mean, I wouldn't say super fun fight, but fun fight if it comes to equally skilled. If it comes to the ground, but I think Stotts stand-up is better than Sabatello's. But it was a good fight, and I think, many people love to hate on Sabatello, but we should be actually praising him, dude. He was like a wildcard fighter in this one. Came into Bellator on super short notice in his debut against Brad Johns, defeated Brad Johns. Horrible weight cut he still defeated him, and I think the UFC should have got to take him when he fought in the Contender Series. He's maybe not the most fun guy to watch, but he was also been a guy who loves to talk trash, and the UFC would have sold a lot of fights with him. I think, even when he's not really eventful to watch, but he got this crazy persona with him, which is what really appeals to people. So,
I agree with you on that. Couple other fights. This Carmouche wins again, and we both called that. We predicted that. Patchy Mix gets the win. He looked great. I mean, this guy is he's killing it right now. Marcel, he's looking great.
Bro,
go ahead.
This dude fought first Kyoji Horiguchi, Magomedov, and he beat both, and now he's fighting Stotts. This dude has like the most difficult road to the final, and he made it. And he's also winning in life. He's dating Tatiana Suarez.
I know.
So,
that's what I'm saying. This guy's doing great, man. He's doing it, dude. Good for him, man. He's a really good fighter, man. I don't know why the UFC never signed him. I mean, he's really good. It's a great signing by Bellator. Awesome signing by them. Dalton Ross looked good. I mean, there's some decent fights. By the way, the Chris Stencione guy walked up to the Pokemon theme song. I mean, that is one of the best walkout songs I've ever seen. Marcel, can you believe that shit? I can't believe it.
He's a fun dude. I was like on Twitter when
He's fun,
he was supposed to fight Robin van Roosmalen, and van
Yeah,
Roosmalen
yeah.
had to pull out because he was he weighed in too heavy.
Yeah.
And then he was like something like, "Oh, I can't stand those Dutch guys," or whatever. You know, he was right. And I was like, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" And he's like, no, I should have rephrased that. It's like, oh, no problem, man. I was just kidding. No.
That's funny. That's funny. No, he looked good. I thought he won that fight for sure. It was split, but I thought he won.
Yeah.
Kai Kamaka looked good. I called him winning. Lombardo, we both called as a dog. There were some upsets though. Like Pat Downey guy got brutally knocked out.
Oh, man.
minus 2,500.
Yeah.
How the fuck was this guy minus 2,500? Like this guy had no experience. That's crazy. Jared Scoggins lost as a dog. There was Carl Crutchmer, the dog. Denise Kielholtz. Do you think she won her fight, Denise?
Man, close fight. You know, I mean, many people were calling robbery in the Netherlands, but you know,
No.
I always try to look at it from a neutral perspective, and I think Ilara Joanne didn't give Denise Kielholtz the respect she expected her to get, you know, in the stand-up. And I think it could have gone both ways. And I think Denise tried the takedowns, but she got reversed. And I think that's also a thing that played in mind of the judges. I think could have gone her way, could have gone Joanne's way. Just very unfortunate for Denise. She has 3 losses now in a row. But I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a close fight and could have gone either way. So
that's fair. All right. I think we're good for this one, guys. We're going to start a new podcast. We'll do the UFC Vegas 66 preview. Marcel, you can follow him on Twitter, Instagram, Big Marcel 24. I'll plug it for you, Marcel. Me, Adam Martin, podcast, MMAOB.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. We're going to start the new podcast up, guys. If you aren't going to join us for that one, we'll be back next week to recap the UFC Vegas 66. Just bear with me for a moment. I'll set up the new podcast for the UFC Vegas 66 preview, and we'll talk to you guys in about 2 or 3 minutes. Peace.